It's wALT backstage in the Two Brothers Green Room. I am with Morgxn before an amazing Queued Up Artist Showcase. Morgxn, welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
So glad that you could be here. I am fascinated by your music because it's just so soulful.
Thank you so much.
You grew up in Nashville. What did that add to your musical being, who you are?
I think that's a great question. I grew up around songs, I grew up around singers. So to me, a song is nothing more than the message and the voice that's like delivering the message, So, as I've gotten older, like I've been influenced by electronics and, making music in a modern way actually allows me to be more free than when I grew up, and like I saw music. Like to me, a lot of what I make, doesn't take up much more room than like this small like backstage area. But growing up in Nashville, it was always just about the song and about the message.
Yeah, I mean music is so prevalent there, and it is song based.
Yeah,
that it's got to seep in a little bit.
Totally. I mean, I can't listen to something that doesn't have like a why. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Anyone can sing, but what are you singing about? Like anyone can write words, but like what are you saying?
What's your message?
Yeah. Like who are you? Why are you here? It's not enough to just open your mouth. You have to have something to say.
Right. Growing up, what was the one record that
changed it?
That you just clicked for you, and you're like, all right, this is what I want to do.
I mean, there was a lot of records. Oddly enough, it was, I think, a Red Hot Chili Peppers record, maybe the one with Californication, and like that sonically and I mean, I actually recently covered just playing around with Under the Bridge, and I live in LA, and I, I've heard that song so much, and all of a sudden it was like, I'm blanking on the lyric, but the city I live in, the city of angels, like,
right.
I don't ever want to feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love,
right.
And take me all the way. Like, there's like a sadness and a heart to these records, and it's been a part of my life since I can remember.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good one. That's a good one to be influenced by, from Blood Sugar Sex Man, or from the Californication album too. So when you write a song, where does that start? Does it start? We talked about songs and there being a why. Does it start with a lyrical idea? Does it start with a melody?
If I had one way to write a song, I don't know that I would like write music, because everything is an exploration. For this record, Vital, there's a lot of moments, like Carry the Weight, for instance, was melody, lyric, chords, all happened at the same time, and it was like a burst of divine, I don't know, something. But I think sometimes the melody is the way in, sometimes the lyric is the way in, and I just try to stay like open to it. Like if I said there was one way, I'd be lying.
Right. So every song is kind of different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find songs kind of like flow, or do you have to? Or do you have to really kind of? Has there been a song that you have to really work at to like hammer it out and go like
production for sure. Actually, Roots, no kidding. I did 20 versions of that song, and what's on the record is the demo.
Isn't that funny? Because usually that's the way it goes.
I know, and everyone says that, and I wish I could I honestly wish I could cut myself the heartache.
Right.
But it's like, I mean, I'm very deep in another record right now, and but the journey of a song is like my favorite thing. I think the writing of a song, if you spend too much time thinking about it, I think you kill the magic, But for me, it's the production. It's the how do I want to say what I'm trying to say that takes me time.
And some of the songs, like Translucent, the video for that is really moving, is really touching.
Thank you so much.
Starting with the audition, do these come from real personal experiences?
That was real. I in another life, it seems I was an actor, and there was a moment where they were like, we like the choices you're making, but can you just like lower your voice? Like, they kept trying to make me like drop my voice down a couple octaves because they were like, it'd be more manly,
right.
And I was just like, That's not. It's not me.
I love,
you know.
I love how in the video you're like
I try. You know. I literally did that.
Right.
It was very real.
It's not really. I can change the way my inflection, but you didn't.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, you know, I spent my whole life trying to tell someone else's story, and then like eventually got lost in the shuffle of I don't even know who I am, you know, and like I don't know what I want and what I want to say and like where I'm going, and you know, I always say I don't trust a person if they haven't been like just flat out lost once in their life, you know, like if they've never hit rock bottom, I don't know that I can like drink with you, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I don't know that you're like, I just don't trust you.
Yeah, sure. So on Vital was this debut album, were these songs that you carried with you for years?
No,
or are these...
you know, they were songs, I would say there's a 3-year period, 15 to 18, and actually maybe 14, because there was a pivotal moment in the middle of it, and I think looking back at the record, you know, I feel it very deeply, but I mentioned it today, my dad passed away, and it was like a very sudden thing, and so I have my label like that I created is called Wanderlost,
right.
And it was partly like this journey that I was on as an artist, but when my dad passed, it like split in two for me, and it was like Wander was one side of the record, Wander, Explore, and then the other side was Loss, you know what I mean? And so I really, you know, grappled with that loss in the middle of already making a record, you know? And it wasn't like now I go make a record. It was literally like I had the greatest gift of losing my dad and being in the studio at the same time allowed me to process it in the best way that I could.
Yeah, you're able to work through it because you're already in the process of creating.
Right. So it was like they were songs, and it's actually an interesting story about Vital, because I played the song Vital live several times before I actually even released the song / the record. And there was a show in San Francisco, and I'll never forget it because, you know, I'd been touring, and I was actually, I'm going to say this out loud too, because I was thinking about calling the record Translucent for a long time. And it didn't feel like, it didn't sit right. I sit with words for a long time, and
Sure.
I chew on them. And there was this girl who drove 6 hours to San Francisco to give me a bracelet that said Vital on it. And the song wasn't even out. I had just played it. And all of a sudden in that moment, I realized it was like much bigger than me, and it was a totally like, I was like, that's the record, you know,
Right.
That's the message, that's the whole thing. These songs are vital, and even if I wanted to let them go, they won't let me go. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
how you bring up something great that I you know, because I've been in a band for years, and I've had people come up and they have that same thing. They drive for hours. How do you deal with that? That people put out that, you know, they spend all that time, all that money to come see you play. How does that affect you?
Oh, I mean, it's not lost on me at all. Like, you know, because I'm a fan. You know, like I love music and I love people, and you know, I said it today, and I should stop joking. Like when I show up at Lollapalooza and there's all these people there at my set, and I'm like, what? I'm surprised. I am surprised because I'm at the end of the day, I'm a human
right.
that is just processing life, you know.
But you've made a connection with people, and that's a special thing.
That's the most vital thing in the entire world. That's why I'm here.
That's a great album title.
Thank you. Working on it.
We've been playing. I played Home last year.
Okay.
When it was first released.
Yeah.
Thought it was a great track then.
Thank you.
But then you played it at Lollapalooza, and you have a connection with Nick from Walk the Moon. How did that connection come about?
Nick. I mean, first of all, I'm a fan.
Right.
I wrote the words "Walk the Moon" on a vision board 4 years ago, and I didn't know him. And I would like to think I'm just a really powerful manifester. And we became friends, and basically, I have this other song, and I've been looking for someone to collaborate with, and I had sent it to him as I was working on it, and he sent me a voice memo back immediately of him singing it, and I was like, wow. It's you. And so I'm also now leaking that there's more coming, and it was something like we were in the studio right around the week of Lollapalooza, and I was like, oh, you're gonna be there, like just come out, we're not playing this thing, so like why don't you just come out and sing on Home? And he did, and it was magical, and it was like it felt huge. The room, which is the world, which is outside, felt it shifted, and we basically it was like we should record this, and that was like Saturday here in Chicago. We both go back on Monday. He's leaving for Asia on Friday, and Thursday night we recorded it. It was just it was
all within that week.
Yeah.
So it wasn't pre-planned until Lollapalooza, so it really did kind of stem from this moment.
Yeah.
The tune turned out fantastic.
Thank you. It also gave me a chance to re-sing the song, which is something I've said before. Like, you don't often get to sing a song that has already changed your life, you know? And I had sung it in Europe all over the place, and it was it was magical. It's already magic, but I got to go back into the studio and sing it with that kind of heart, and it feels different to me.
It's also one of those things that I think once you've played it a whole bunch, you have a new relationship with it, and the way you deliver it.
It's crazy that it's crazy. I tend to not sing many takes because I think you start overthinking it, and it's crazy to think that a song that you sing once or twice, that's the version that is heard in the world, so it was cool to revisit it and sing it with the knowing it in my bones this time, you know what I mean, as opposed to up here.
Well, I cannot wait to see where this song goes. We've been playing it a lot. Love
Thank you
the
very
record.
Much.
What's coming in 2019 for Morgxn?
Well, I'm going on tour with Robert DeLong, which I just announced.
I just saw that. Fantastic. That is a great pairing.
I love him.
Robert's great.
Yeah. And more music. I'm very deep into another record, and I'm releasing a special project at the top of the year as well.
Awesome. By the way, I have to mention, love your take on Boys Don't Cry.
Thank you so much.
I mean, it's I saw the title, I'm like, could this be? And then I listened to it, this is an amazing take on The Cure. I love it.
Thank you. I wouldn't touch it if I didn't want to say something with it.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I'm going to get out of here so you can take the stage for an amazing queued up show. Morgxn hanging out backstage at Reggie's in the Two Brothers Green Room. Thanks for hanging.
Thank you so much for having me.